CTV News with Angela Mackenzie.
Good evening and welcome to this half-hour newscast on CJD 800 and ctvnewsmontreal.ca. Well, members of Montreal's Iranian community took to the streets this afternoon protesting the country's current regime. And Sweta, it was a massive crowd that came out.
That's right, Angela. Hundreds of Iranian Montrealers gathered near Cabot Square earlier this afternoon. Then they made their way to the U.S. consulates, where they were waving flags and chanting for a free Iran.
Look at him, he's 17 years old, Sam Afshari.
Atana Barfarushi is scrolling through photos on her phone. Images of people she says were recently killed while protesting in Iran.
News we hear from Iran is extremely disturbing. The number of people who got killed by the regime and the people who are injured, they are not safe.
She's one of hundreds who gathered near Cabot Square Saturday afternoon. Montreal's Iranian community held a demonstration in response to a deadly crackdown in Iran. Barfarushi says she hasn't been able to reach family back home because of internet blackouts imposed by the government.
We don't have internet. We haven't heard from our family over a week.
Protesters made their way to the U.S. consulates. Organizers say their goal is to put pressure on the international community, particularly the United States, to take stronger action.
We need the support because we are just the people. You see, we are not armed. We're not from military. We are just people. We are the same people. We have just our voice like people in Iran.
Many protesters also voiced support for Iran's exiled Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi as a potential transitional leader. Since protests erupted in Iran on December 28th, the U.S.-based human rights activist news agency estimates around 3,000 people have been killed, though the Iranian community here says that number is even higher. For those who gathered, the message is clear.
And we want a freedom for them. What's the meaning of freedom? Food, electricity, internet, freedom at home, the basic of human right that they don't have at the moment.
Even from thousands of kilometers away, they say they will continue to speak out for those whose voices are silenced. Sweta Rassi, CTV News.
In Montreal today, the federal government announced more details on the national gun buyback program. Jeremy Sharon reports.
The federal government pressing on today with the next step of its controversial gun buyback program, giving gun owners across the country a deadline to turn in or disable their firearms, which are set to become illegal.
Critics have complained that buying back assault-style firearms will do nothing to reduce crime. We disagree. Every assault-style firearm out of our communities is a step forward for public safety.
Gun owners will have 2 months to take them up on their offer. A declaration period will start Monday and run until March 31st, but doesn't guarantee you compensation. It's first come, first serve. The government has earmarked $248 million for this phase of the program, enough for approximately 136,000 firearms. How much you get depends on the model, from hundreds to thousands of dollars.
The compensation program is voluntary, but compliance with the law is not.
An amnesty period set by the government is set to end on October 30th, after which possessing any of the more than 2,500 guns banned by Ottawa since 2020 would be a criminal offense. A joint statement today from a number of gun control groups called the move a win for public safety in Canada, while Canada's gun lobby group is calling it a wasteful, ineffective, and divisive program.
Recon, pump action, spring-loaded.
Lawful gun owners across the country say it falls short.
If you had an expensive vehicle and the government banned it and wanted to give you a tenth of its value, is that a buyback or a theft?
Some provinces have come out against it too. Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba have all said they won't help administer or enforce the federal plan.
This is a federal government program that doesn't appear to be very efficient, doesn't appear to be well run.
Now, gun owners who don't opt into the program can either permanently deactivate their firearms at their own cost, turn them into police without being compensated, or export them if they have a permit. If not, after October 30th, they'll be breaking the law. Jeremy Sherrill, CTV News, Ottawa.
A man in his 20s has died after his car collided with a school bus late Friday in the Montérégie. The SQ says the collision happened just before midnight on Route 235. The cause of the crash remains unclear. The children on the bus were not injured. Well, Quebec Public Health is flagging a passenger with measles was recently on board an Air Canada flight from Madrid to Montreal. The flight was AC 835 from Madrid to Trudeau Airport on January 8th. Anyone who was on that flight or in the arrival and baggage area between 3:50 p.m. and 6:20 that evening may have been exposed. The infected person visited several other locations between January 10th and 13th, including a LaSalle grocery store and pharmacy. More information is on our website, ctvnewsmontreal.ca. And a Catholic church in the Ste. Marie neighborhood has filed a lawsuit against the city of Montreal. It says the city won't allow it to demolish the building, which has become a safety hazard. Stéphane Giroux has the story.
There are more than 130 Catholic churches in Montreal, and none feel as abandoned as the Saint-Eusèbe de Versailles Church on Fulham Street.
It's dangerous.
The congregation wants the building torn down to build affordable homes, but the city won't deliver a demolition permit. And to add insult to injury, the parish was fined $250,000 because it can't stop squatters from breaking in. Just before the holidays, the church filed a lawsuit against the city.
We're asking them to respond quickly and not go through the standard process, which would go through all kinds of consultations. It's more in that sense where public safety is first. We can't put that on pause anymore.
The church says it's caught up in a catch-22 situation. To get a housing project off the ground, they need permission from the city. Yet the city added a layer of bureaucracy by having it listed as a heritage building. Meanwhile, the parish spends $300,000 a year to keep the church secured.
It's almost impossible to invest that money or go look for partners or collaborators if we don't know how the future of the building will, or what the outcome will be.
Heritage advocates admit that while this church has historical value, it might be too late for the Saint-Eusèbe Church.
Now, at one point, there is the fact that perhaps the damage is too far past, that this is, we have to say goodbye to that building.
Dinu Bombaru says the city's piecemeal approach to conversation means this church's fate isn't unique.
If we keep procrastinating, then we'll just be burying our heritage and having a very boring set of neighborhood in the end.
The city, in the meantime, will not comment because the case is now before the courts. Stéphane Giroux, CTV News.
Quebec's Public Security Minister Yann Lafrenière says he is considering running for CAQ leadership to replace François Legault. The MNA for Vachon adds he's having conversations with his family and is considering what is best for the party.
So I'm wondering, is it the best thing? Because yes, we're talking about running as a chief, but then you know that an election is coming soon. So am I the best person for the family? Because I strongly love that family, the CAQ. I strongly believe that we're extremely important in Quebec. So that's all the reason why I need a moment to think of it. I know other get reflections, and this is normal, this is suitable. It means that we all want the good of this party, which is the CAQ.
Lafrenière says some colleagues have reached out to him asking him to consider running. Well, on the heels of inking a trade deal with China, the Prime Minister is now looking to drum up deals in Qatar in his continued effort to diversify Canada's trade. Annie Bergeron-Oliver reports.
The Prime Minister has arrived in Qatar, becoming the first sitting Prime Minister to come here. The visit is all part of Mark Carney's larger plan to diversify Canada's trading relationships and boost investment in Canada. Carney's schedule today did not include any public events, but on Sunday he will be meeting with business leaders, including with the Qatar investment agency, the Sovereign Wealth Fund. He will also be holding a bilateral meeting and a luncheon with the Emir, the head of the country's monarchy, and he'll be visiting a cultural site. This is a quick trip, but Canada's finance minister says it's an important one. François-Philippe Champagne met with political leaders today and said the country is very interested in deploying capital to Canada. He believes Canada's push to build through the Major Projects Office is helping fuel that desire. Now, senior officials say they're looking to grow the diplomatic relationship on this trip and improve trade access in areas like clean tech, artificial intelligence, and security. Ottawa also sees Qatar as an increasingly important player and ally on the world stage, given its role as a mediator in major conflicts. This country has helped in negotiations between Hamas and Israel and has helped with the reunification of Ukrainian children. Carney is only here until Monday morning. Then he heads off to Davos, Switzerland for the World Economic Forum, where he will once again be pitching Canada as a place to spend their money. Annie Bergeron-Oliver, CTV News, Doha, Qatar.
U.S. President Donald Trump says he will be charging a 10% tariff on 8 European nations. It's because they're opposed to the U.S. taking control of Greenland. In a post on Truth Social, Trump says in part that world peace and the national security of the U.S. are at stake because Russia and China want Greenland. He adds, starting February 1st, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, the UK, the Netherlands, and Finland will be charged a 10% levy on all goods sent to the U.S. This tariff will increase to 25% by June if no deal is reached for Greenland. And that is the sound of protesters in Nuuk, Greenland, where hundreds gathered chanting, "Greenland is not for sale." A similar protest took place in Denmark. Quebec is bucking national trends when it comes to real estate. 2025 was the third best year for sales in the province as demand for properties continues to outstrip supply. Denise Roberts has the details.
In 2025, while housing prices across Canada cooled, in Quebec, the market heated up, with sales reaching near pandemic peaks.
So there is a confidence in the market, and the confidence that the prices will go up and up.
In the last quarter, the median price of a single-family home in Greater Montreal was $630,000, up 7% from last year. Condominiums were $425,000, up 1%. The cost of multiplexes surged to $848,000, up 8%. The increases are part of an ongoing trend, with the median price of a single-family home soaring 67% in 5 years. Eastern Quebec is catching up to Montreal, with a double-digit rise in median price just last year. Declining interest rates and 30-year mortgages have helped sustain demand. But the true driver is lack of supply, according to Royal LePage broker Marc Lefrançois.
I would say anybody who owns a single family dwelling up to about $800,000 in and out of Montreal, those people own the most sought after piece of asset.
While it's good news for people who have homes, for first-time home buyers, it's another story. Lefrançois says most require help from family and longer commutes to get into the market. For those who want to stay in the city, buying a multiplex is another option.
I have a lot of clients that are buying plexes in order to provide eventually housing for their kids.
Prices are expected to continue to rise in 2026, and there are concerns this will keep even more people out, according to Charles Brandt.
We don't have to stimulating the demand, but we have to stimulating the offer. We have to stimulating the construction.
While Ottawa is pushing its program to build more homes, in Quebec, Lefrançois says developers aren't building enough single-family homes.
Either people will build these super big homes like they did in Brossard, or condo towers, but very few reasonably sized homes.
Until supply catches up with demand, Lefrançois says it will remain a seller's market, and buyers are just going to have to find new ways to keep up. Denise Roberts, CTV News.
Turning to the weather now, it is currently -8 in Montreal, but it feels like -12 with the wind chill, a chance of scattered flurries later in the evening. Tomorrow, a mix of sun and cloud expected throughout the day, a high of -3. And then for the rest of the week, we could see more snow on Monday and Wednesday, and by Saturday, we'll see frigid temperatures return.
What's on Montreal, brought to you by Tanguay, your comfort zone.
This weekend, a lot of annual events are back in Montreal. Electronic music lovers unite. Igloo Fest is back. Enjoy sets under the stars in an iconic igloo village that's at Jacques-Cartier Pier until February 7th. The Montreal Auto Show also returns with new car unveilings. Head to Palais des Congrès from Friday to January 25th. You can even test drive select models of electric cars. Blue Rodeo takes the Montreal stage as part of their 40th anniversary tour. Lose yourself in country rock music on Saturday or Sunday night. That's on at 8 p.m. at Place des Arts. Graham Kay is live at the Comedy Nest. Enjoy his stand-up as seen on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. Sets run until Saturday. And if you're looking to shop, hit the Vintage Bazaar in the Plateau. Find clothing, jewelry, toys, and more at Saint-Denis Church. That's also on Saturday. Lots to do this weekend. For What's on Montreal, I'm Anastasia Dextrine.
Pistachio recalls have been ongoing for several months now amid a widespread salmonella outbreak. More than 300 pistachio products are affected. Amy Prue joins me now. She's a professor of food technology at Niagara College and a former inspector with the Canadian Food Inspection Agency. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So Amy, why are pistachios at the center of so many recalls?
Pistachios are a delicious product. They're something that's delightful, but what we are noticing with the recalls that are out there, there's really four key categories that are being impacted. First off are the licensees under the Safe Food for Canadians regulation, and these are companies that have been quickly able to recall the product. Second, we're seeing small family-run grocery stores, many of them with international or Middle Eastern backgrounds, and they're inspected by the municipalities and not by the Canadian Food Inspection Agency. And as such, it's a little bit slower for those facilities to get inspected. We're seeing also many small bakeries or dessert shops that are being impacted. Equally, they're impacted by municipal inspection. And last but not least, we are seeing the consumers. So many of the consumers that are looking at the products, in many cases, these are products that are sold as bulk products or as fresh pastry items, things like baklava or different sweet items that may be frozen and held on for a long period of time. And so for this reason, because pistachios have such a long shelf life, because they're often sold in bulk products and therefore don't have packaging or UPC codes to be able to trace them, and because they're something that are often stored by people for long periods of time, this is why it's taking so many months for this recall to resolve.
And how are they getting contaminated in the first place?
Pistachios are a tree fruit, and so they're grown through much of the California as well as the Middle East, and they're picked off of the trees. They're washed to remove the pulp, and that can, if a bird has been in that tree and contaminated it with its feces, that can then pass salmonella through the entire lot of product. Now, many of the nuts that are processed in the United States are processed using heat, whereas in the Middle East, many of the nuts are sun-dried because the properties of the air are such that allows them to be dried naturally without requiring extra energy. But that sun drying does not kill salmonella. And so that is one of the reasons we see it spread through the entire lot of product. Plus, we see that we're not applying a proper kill step to get rid of the salmonella.
So, I mean, we know that pistachios come in so many different kinds of products and bakery goods, etc. Should people be avoiding pistachios altogether?
If you don't know where those pistachios were purchased, and if you don't know that the product has any sort of safeguards in place, then it's highly advised at this point to still be avoiding consuming them.
All right, we are out of time. Amy Prue, thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us today.
Thank you so much.
Time now for our In Case You Missed It. It appears one man's recent car trouble was no accident and could have led to a horrible disaster. He says the lug nuts that hold his tires to his car were removed, and a dare on TikTok is behind it. Matt Grillo reports.
The photo is unmistakable. This is a tire that was on Raphael Blais' car last week. Some key parts are missing. The lug nuts that help fasten the tire were suddenly gone. He says his partner noticed the problem just before getting on the highway.
Faisait des gros bruits. Puis il avait commencé à trembler.
The car was making a lot of noise and shaking, he says. He had switched cars with his partner and he eventually noticed one tire was missing lug nuts.
C'était une bonne idée de pas prendre l'autoroute.
Blaise says it's a good thing that neither he nor his partner decided to take the highway that day. The incident left him so shook up, he decided to post his experience on Facebook, and that's when he found out about the lug nut challenge on TikTok from years ago. Blaise says it's possible he and others could be victims of that challenge. His mechanic told him the lug nuts on his car were removed manually. Not to mention, he says a lot of people from regions across the province have reached out with similar stories.
Ce n'est pas une situation qui est drôle.
André Durocher with CAA Quebec says when he was a Montreal police officer, he was aware of some cases involving the lug nut challenge.
You know, people think it may be funny, somebody's going to lose a wheel. First of all, there's damage, so the people will be, have physical damage on their car, but lives are at risk.
In a statement, the SQ says if it is determined that the act was intentional or a prank, it could constitute a criminal offense of mischief or a charge of criminal negligence. Durocher says giving your car a once-over before driving could help.
We always say that you should look around your vehicle when you get into it. Most people don't.
Blaise filed a complaint with police because he says the lug nut challenge is not funny. It can be very dangerous and he wants it to stop. Matt Grillo, CTV News.
If you've received a gift that missed the mark and you want to return it, make sure you know the store's refund rules and price adjustment policies in case that item got cheaper. CTV's Pat Foran has more.
Overpaying happens more often than you think, but knowing the store's rules can help you keep more cash in your pocket. Before you shop, take a quick look at the store's price adjustment and price matching policies. These policies can let you claim the lower price even after you've checked out.
When you know a retailer's policies, it can help you navigate shopping there and getting the best discounts, the best deals possible.
So, how do they work?
When you're price matching, you're doing it before you buy. With price adjustments, it's after you've already bought something and you've seen a price drop. You can go and get an adjustment and get a partial refund.
But every retailer's policy is different. Walmart will only match a price if you're shopping in-store, see something for less on Walmart's website, and request a price match in person. There are also exclusions, and Walmart doesn't match any competitors' prices. The same goes for Costco. If you buy an item and the price drops within 30 days, you can request the difference online for online purchases and in-store for in-person purchases. No matter where you shop, make sure you're comparing the prices of two exact items down to the color, and be sure you have proof. Receipts, ads, screenshots, or printouts of competitors' prices can often help your case. It may seem like a lot of effort, but
taking that extra few minutes to look at these policies is always going to be worth it.
If a store refuses to give you a lower price, check with your credit card. Some cards offer price protection benefits that might be able to refund you the difference. If you're returning items, some stores may not issue refunds if the product has been opened or used. They may also charge restocking fees, and for online orders, you may have to pay the shipping costs to return it. Pat Foran, CTV News.
It's a big day for Quebec computer programmers. One of the oldest competitions was held today. More than 150 students representing some of the best in computer science in Quebec took part in the Covio Blitz. For over 10 hours, competitors develop AI algorithms to solve the competition's challenges. Co-founder Marc Sansafon spoke to us about why events like this one are so important.
In terms of AI, why it's important in our market and in our sector is, it's moving so fast that programming is heavily influenced by AI coding agents, for example. So people need to leverage that.
This year marks the 16th time the competition has taken place. Well, the Canadians have sent 2 players back to the farm team, the Laval Rocket. Goalie Jacob Fowler led in 4 goals against the Buffalo Sabres Thursday night, and Owen Beck was called up with Fowler on December 9th and was also returned to the Laval Rocket. Well, that's it for us. Thanks for watching and listening. Have a good night, everyone. Take care.